Do you know what I like to do when I wake up on New Year's Eve? Well, I like to have some coffee, and I like to look at some baseball cards. I have one big pickup I want to share with you. I heard a story, and I thought it was fitting for the modern hobby, and so I wanted to share it with you. There was a young, aspiring composer, and he got to meet Mozart. And he asked Mozart how to go about composing a symphony. And Mozart said to him, "Well, how old are you?" And he said, "I'm 21. And Mozart said, "You're too young to compose a symphony." And the guy said, "But you were 10 when you composed your first symphony." And Mozart said, "Yes, but I didn't have to ask anybody how to do it." I think in the modern hobby, we look for people to tell us how to collect, what to collect. And I thought that story was kind of fitting for that. You know, I've been watching all these, top 50, top 25 videos. And something struck me, because the vast majority of them are based on what the current value is for cards. And I thought, do we value our cards on what we think? Or do we value our cards on what other people think? Because if the cards you love the most are the most expensive, or have the most value, I should say, then aren't you putting your value on what other people think about your cards, rather than what you think about your cards? Because I'm sure for most collectors, in your top 50 would be cards not that valuable. I see where there's, modern 1980s cards way ahead of Ty Cobb and Babe Ruth and everything because they have a 10 on them. Is that truly one of your top 50 cards? If it had an 8 on it, would it be your top 50 card? Would you love it? Or are you putting all the value on what other people think of 10s? I think we all fall into this where we value something because other people value it. If it's a hot card that everybody else wants, we want it too. At the National, I had a chance to meet Sports Card Dad. And I took him around this one cocktail party. And it was all these vintage collectors that had picked up dream cards in 1s and 2s. And I felt like the ghost of Christmas past or something. And I was walking him around, and we were just observing how happy people were to pick up that dream card in a 1 or a 2. And Eric, those back pages, was there, and he was showing us all his 1952 Mickey Mantle, and you could just see the pure joy on his face. Not because of the number on the slab, but because he's always wanted this card. And there were so many people like that. My good friend Double D, Dylan, we're always sharing cards and texting, and, sometimes I'll be a little embarrassed to send him a new pickup if it's not perfectly centered, because I know, he may not like it. Well, why do I care about that if I love it? But I think we all fall into that. And I think that's why so many videos, when we have a card that we don't think other people will think is as nice as we think it is, we have to show every flaw and point it all out it's almost like a defense mechanism where we're like, let me point all the flaws out before you see them. So look at this and look at that and look how awful this is, but I love it. And I think we fall into the trap of judging our cards on what we think other people will think of them, rather than what we think of them. I think we all do it. You know, YouTube creators are kind of the same way. You know, some of the biggest YouTube creators aren't everybody's cup of tea. Do I value and choose what I watch based on how many subscribers they have or what other people think of their channel? No. You take a Jeff Wilson who has 100 million subscribers. I'm not one of them. In many ways, he represents everything I dislike about the hobby. It's just for me. It's just the way I feel. Because somebody has 100 million subscribers, do I want to watch them go to Big Lots and Walmart and look for packs of new cards? No, it's just not for me. You know, there are many people who don't want to watch me. There are many people I trigger. I hear videos all the time from big YouTubers who seem to give little digs at things I've said. They don't comment on my videos. That's fine. I'm not their cup of tea. If you don't like what I'm saying or what I'm showing, I don't blame you. You should be happy. You should watch what you like. I know I do. I was subscribed to so many channels. So many. And I found myself, either a lot of content bringing me down or triggering me, and I had to unsubscribe a lot of channels. There's just certain things that I just don't care about. I don't want to hear what I should be investing in or what cards I should be picking up. I don't like to listen to, there's a market crashing kind of stuff. It's just not for me. If videos that it's all PSA reveals or something, I don't care. I mean no offense by this, but I really don't care what numbers are assigned to people's cards. I like to see the cards, but I could care less what numbers are assigned to them. I mean, maybe if they were my cards, I'd care. I could care less about watching somebody open packs of cards. Maybe that's selfish. I don't know. I like to open my own packs, but if they're not mine, I'm just not into it. I just think we need to be true to who we are. My man, Aaron at Value Vintage Cards, and I collect a lot alike. And he will, be so excited to pick up some obscure card, and I'm the same way. And nobody else might value it worth very much at all. Nobody else might even know what it is. But for he and I, we've probably searched for years for one of these to come available at the right price, the right copy, and we're so excited to get it. And it's not based on value. It's not based on what other people think that card, if it's cool or not. We're buying it because we think it's cool. And over the years, because I've always been like this, a lot of the cards I always thought were cool and I wanted and I loved them weren't worth a whole lot of anything. In some cases, that's how I could get them back in the day. But things change. All of a sudden, they're worth a lot of money. I didn't do it for that reason, but I'm just saying things change. Sometimes when you collect what you want, you end up better off later on. At one time, having a player autograph a card was devalued. And now people pay way up for them. So if you loved those and you collected them back in the day, you got them for cheap. And now all of a sudden they're worth a lot more money. So you just never know. At one time, modern cards in a Beckett 9.5 holder was all the rage. Now nobody wants them. I had somebody comment on my video that any card graded before 2020 should be considered ungraded. Think about that. So all the people that paid tens of thousands of dollars to grade their cards all these decades, and the modern hobby thinks they're junk. You just never know. I have one fabulous card, one big card I want to show. It's a 1954 to 58 spick and span Hank Aaron. It's a beauty. Hey, that's what I have for you. Be you. Thanks for hanging out with me. I got to go.